Today guys, we are going to be doing episode 3 of Forgotten Vehicles in GTA 5 Online. Over the years, there have been hundreds of new vehicles added to the game, and a lot of them have been just completely forgotten about by the community. Sometimes they were forgotten about on purpose, and other times they were just kind of phased out. We're going to be going over a few today, and if you guys haven't seen the other episodes, they're linked down below in the description. With that said, I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's get into it. First up is going to be the $1.3 million Slam Truck. Even though it's still fairly new to the game, it's been forgotten about by most people because of how terrible it is. This vehicle was forgotten about on purpose. The main issue with the Slam Truck is when we first saw it, we saw there was a tow hook and it was like a racing DLC coming out. It was going to be pretty awesome. But then when we actually got it, we put our cars on the back of it if we were able to, because it was already really hard to drive some of the lower cars onto that vehicle. Once they were on top of it, they just fell off really quickly, which sucked, and there was no way to make them actually stay onto the vehicle unless you did a couple different things like lower the suspension, like mess around with the hydraulics pretty much, and even then, it didn't work flawlessly. What we really wanted was for the vehicle to just be mounted on the back of the truck and not move until we wanted it to. Like a video I made a long time ago, I showcased exactly what we wanted the Slam Truck to be, but sadly, it wasn't that at all. And then Rockstar put out a Newswire post saying, oh yeah, the Slam Truck's actually really cool, even though you can't tow cars and stuff on it. You could do really cool tricks and jumps on it with bikes. You launch off the back of it and do all kinds of cool tricks. So watch out for all these people driving their bikes everywhere because they're going to be doing it a lot. So we tried it, and you can't do it. Like 9 out of 10 times, almost 10 out of 10 times, you will fall off your bike, and it gets really annoying. This vehicle literally just failed practically right when it was released. It was terrible. They could have made it awesome, but sadly they didn't. And the only reason we somewhat remember this vehicle still is literally because it is in the LS Tuners DLC update. It is the podium, I guess, for the new prize ride vehicles every single week. So that's literally the only reason people actually remember this thing, but you never actually drive it anymore because you drive it for a couple of minutes, you try to do some stunts off of it, doesn't work, try to put a car on the back of it, doesn't work, you return it, and that's pretty much it. You'll never see it again unless you go to the LS Car Meet area. By the way, be sure to check out Digizani. You could purchase games, gaming accessories, and in-game currency for all your favorite games like GTA 5, Forza, and many more. Use code FROLICKZ at checkout and get a 10% discount. Next up is going to be the Mtl Dune. Now this vehicle, honestly, I just rarely ever see it anymore. It's not the worst vehicle in the game. It's actually pretty great. It's a pretty great off-roading vehicle, and it drives through water very well. It's only like $1.3 million, I believe. The issues that it has, obviously it's a Pegasus vehicle, you can't customize it, all you could do is throw a livery on it, which kind of sucks. It would be cool if we could throw a couple customizations on, maybe some wheels like I have right here. It looks pretty awesome, but it's pretty much a smaller version of the Brigade, and you could use it for racing around and doing some crazy stuff. In my books, it was really never the worst vehicle. It was honestly pretty damn cool. It's, like I said, great at off-roading and driving through water. You just rarely see anybody ever use this thing anymore. Like, if you go into a lobby, the chances of you actually seeing one of these things are close to none. And if you spent a year looking for somebody actually driving this thing around, you might be able to find a couple, but like I said, they're very rare to see anymore. Nobody really uses them, and it's just because they really don't serve a huge purpose in the game, and they're a pretty damn big target as well. It's honestly a pretty fun vehicle though. I would honestly recommend driving it around. The issue is you gotta spend $1.3 million to buy it, and if you don't like it, then it's just gonna be sitting there in your Pegasus storage for a very long time. The next vehicle, or vehicles I guess, that have been forgotten about in GTA 5 are going to be the Submarines. Ever since something like the Stromberg or the Toreador was released, nobody ever uses any of these things anymore. And can I just say one thing? I never actually realized how massive the Kraken and the Submersiel actually are. Like, they are huge vehicles. But anyways, back on topic. Yeah, they're pretty much forgotten about in this game now because they really don't serve that much of a purpose. Back in the day, it was really fun to drive these things around, but now if you go and grab a Toreador or a Stromberg or something like that, and you take that out into the water, they're much easier to control, plus they could shoot missiles and stuff, and you know, they can go on land and they can go in water, and the Toreador has a boost on it. Like, they're pretty insane vehicles, and these Submarines now aren't really that cool. Same with the new one that was released in the Calperico Heist. that one is pretty much garbage, and if you bought it, you probably know what I mean. Like, it was just a waste of money, and you probably regret buying that thing, because if you're doing anything from your submarine, 90% of the time, you're going to end up taking out the Sparrow instead of the submarine, because, you know, you drive the submarine back to shore, you still need a vehicle. You take the helicopter out, you're good. You can go anywhere in the entire map. For me, the Kraken is actually a free submarine since I transferred from PS3 to PS4 a long time ago, and you could find this regular submarine sitting at the Merryweather base, at the docks, I guess, at the south side of the map, and you can still drive it around. But like I said, nobody ever does, because they're somewhat hard to control, and they don't have any cool features, so you're just going to be, you know, underwater, driving around, and you can't really do all that much. But with the Stromberg and the Toreador, you could do a lot of other cool stuff, and have a lot more fun with those vehicles, which pretty much just edged out these submarines in GTA 5. Next up is the Entity XF. You rarely ever see anybody driving this car around, especially since the Entity XXR was released, and it looks so much more modern than the, you know, the Entity XF that we have in game. But in my opinion, the XXR is pretty trash, and the XF is actually the better vehicle to buy, even though it's under $1 million. Back in the day, this thing used to be awesome. It was showcased in the GTA Online trailer, which made it fairly popular, and it was one of the best supercars to use in races, alongside the Adder and the Zentorno and the Cheetah. The Turismo was obviously another great car, but that thing is pretty garbage now. But yeah, the Entity XF was very popular back in the day, but now you never see anybody driving it around, along with the Entity XXR, just because the vehicles aren't that great. I'm not gonna lie. Like, all these new vehicles are coming out, and they are better in every single way, shape, and form. The acceleration is better, the handling is better on most of them, obviously. The upgrades are also so much better, top speeds are better. Like, when you look at the Entity XF right here, the only noticeable cosmetic upgrade that you could see is the spoiler that's been put on it, not including the window tint, color, and the rims, of course, but those are pretty much the only upgrades this vehicle has. And you compare it to some of the newer supercars and sports cars coming out these days, like, it can't compete with that, unless Rockstar were to, you know, do some other stuff and add some more features to some of the older vehicles, which hopefully we could see an expanded and enhanced, but I highly doubt it. It's pretty much just the end of an era for some of these older vehicles, because there's a lot of newer ones out there. Like in the Cars movie, Lightning McQueen, he's racing, he's doing his best, but then this new car comes out, it's a lot faster, handles a lot better, has great acceleration, it's just overall a better vehicle, it just flies right by him. It sucks, but that's pretty much what happens, and these cars are just getting edged out, and now nobody ever uses them anymore. The next vehicle that's been completely forgotten about is the Vetier. I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not too sure though, but you never see anybody driving this thing anywhere, because it sucks. It's literally a terrible vehicle, does not handle well, and it falls over all the time, just like you saw there. The only reason anybody would ever use this thing is as one of the approaches in the Calperico heist, when they're trying to get into the compound area. That's the only way anybody would ever drive this thing, because it's really just not that great. It has no customizations, and it's pretty much the exact same as the Barracks that we have in GTA 5, that military truck that looks exactly like this, and it actually is practically the exact same as this. If you listen closely to both of those trucks side by side, they have the exact same engine and everything. They sound the exact same. When they're going through gears, they sound the exact same, and they can both hold people in the back, and they have that canopy thing over the back of it, and it's practically the exact same thing, except the Barracks is much cheaper, which is obviously a bonus, but you never see anybody drive that thing around, so why would anybody drive around this thing when it costs even more money? I believe when Rockstar released it through one of the event weeks, it was cool for like a little while, but then, you know, people realized you can't customize it, there's really nothing to do to it, so, you know, why buy it for $1.3 million? There's so many vehicles I wish I could just return in GTA 5 and I would have millions of dollars, like practically like 90% of the Pegasus vehicles I bought. I'm not gonna lie, I rarely ever use them anymore, especially since the ones that I mainly use are inside my hangar, like the Hydra or Laser that I could actually customize. But yeah, this thing is just pretty much forgotten about in GTA 5. Nobody ever uses it anymore because, honestly, it's just a more expensive version of the Barracks that we already have in GTA 5. And nobody even drives that thing, right? So like I said, why spend more money for the exact same thing, and you're probably not even going to use it all that much? Well guys, these are some of the forgotten vehicles I wanted to go over in GTA 5 Online. Like I said, I made 2 videos of this in the past, so check them out. The links are down below in the description. And if you guys want to see another episode of this, be sure to drop a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you are new to the channel. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and with that said, I will catch you guys in the next one.